What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the Enhancement Talent Review for WWE SmackDown Live, September 3rd, 2019, where we ended this show with another confusing addition to this Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Eric Rowan saga of who tried to kill Mr. Burns, Roman Reigns, or who tried to run over Steve Austin, it turned into. But, yeah, this was, last week we had the, thing with, Bryan slapping Rowan over and over again when he realized, I guess, that it was Rowan and not the guy that looked like Rowan. And then Bryan came to the ring and got a spear. This week, we, end the show, and this is the closing angle, with Daniel Bryan coming out. Why they're still calling him the new Daniel Bryan is beyond me, but nonetheless, he comes out with about 10 minutes left in the show, insists that he was not involved in this Rowan attack. Bryan still wants an apology from Roman Reigns. Roman comes out, he gets attacked by Rowan. Rowan beats him down. Bryan even tries to stop Rowan, but Rowan pushes him over, hits a claw slam to Rowan in the ring, then cuts a promo, an Eric Rowan promo, the longest promo he's ever cut for sure, saying he is not Bryan's puppet. Rowan insists that Bryan come in the ring and slap him in the face again. Rowan goes to put Reigns through the table, through the announce table, but Bryan comes in and stops him, slaps him in the face again, and so Bryan gets put through the table instead. And, yeah, so the whole point in this whole storyline, it appears, was to get Eric Rowan over as a singles guy? Like, what? We had Buddy Murphy and Samoa Joe that were both involved in this storyline, and then promptly dropped away from it. And you would think that maybe the goal would have been to get Buddy Murphy over as a single star. But, and you know, they did a good job with Murphy in the two matches they did with him. But now the attention is focused on Eric Rowan, which is baffling. And, you know, this has really turned into who ran over Stone Cold. And you go back to that, and, you know, this isn't exactly the same, because that storyline played out over a much longer period of time. But you go back to that, and the reveal ended up being Rikishi. Then Rikishi said he did it for The Rock. Then The Rock wanted nothing to do with it. And then it ended up being like Rikishi was doing it for Triple H instead. And so that whole thing was a damp ending. Just like this has turned into that as well. And, like, the idea, for one, of Rowan being the one that they want to peg as the mastermind behind this is something else. Especially with Rowan facing Roman at the pay-per-view, where he's surely just going to lose. Like, then what's the point? Is it going to end up being a ruse, and the whole time Bryan and Rowan were in cahoots working together to accomplish what? I don't know. Like, if that is the plan, is to just end up revealing that, then that's going to be pretty lame too. This storyline continues to make no sense. I have no idea why this same thing has closed the last 3 or more SmackDowns. With 3 weeks ago, we had the reveal of fake Rowan. Then, 2 weeks ago, it would have been. And then, the week after that, the reveal that it wasn't fake Rowan. And then, this week. It's just utterly baffling why they insist on putting these promos at the end. Like, they really want us to think that this is the most important thing on the show. on both shows, because we get recap packages of it on Raw, we get recap packages of it during SmackDown. I've seen at least 5,000 of them, and now we're going to continue to see them, except now they'll add this bit at the end. Like, I'm just so beyond over it. Yeah, I don't know. And the whole thing still makes no sense, because, like, Rowan was in the shots, and he's the one that pushes the crates over, which, like, Roman was already underneath the scaffolding, so pushing the crates over on top of it didn't really do much. And we still don't know who the hell was driving the forklift. Like, shouldn't that be, like, a bigger question here? And, you know, I know that, like, 2 days after it originally happened, they, like, put the thing out that, oh, it was an equipment error. It was they went as far to say that the regular forklift operator called out sick, and it was a temp driver. Like, yeah, that was a real thing that WWE put out on their social media pages. And, yeah, I don't really like that as an explanation. And so, you would think there would be more focus on, like, well, Rowan was there, but who was driving the forklift? And, you know, now we split Bryan and Rowan. And what's the end goal for Bryan? Is he going to somehow turn back babyface throughout this? That wouldn't make any sense. He's been a heel throughout this whole thing, with the whole not liking liars thing, and the stuff with Buddy Murphy he was very heel with, and with Roman too. So it just doesn't make sense what they're doing here. And, you know, I reserve that we'll see where it goes going forward. But either way, this whole thing has been so thrown together, and it's very clear that, you know, WWE books week to week. And, you know, it's always better. It will always be better if you have a plan going into this storyline and you execute it. But instead, the process becomes, okay, well, what do we need to do this week? How do we get out of this situation that we put ourselves in? And it just really dampens the meaning of this whole storyline, because it hasn't made any sense. There's been no continuity in it. We still have no idea why the fake Rowan was even there, if Daniel Bryan would just see someone who looked like Rowan there in the video, but then not continue to back him. Like, there's so many things in this whole thing that made absolutely no sense. But we're going to carry on with the rest of the show going in order from there. Well, from the beginning. We had a recap video package of Bayley turning heel the night prior on Raw to start off this show, followed by Bayley coming out with her normal entrance, just everything exactly the way it would be, which I kind of figured would happen, but I was hoping there would at least be something, like she brings out like a pin and pops all of the inflatable tube men or something. Like, something other than just, like, I guess it's kind of like the Sami Zayn approach, but the way they did it with Sami Zayn is when Zayn turned heel, he did, like, an over-exaggerated version of his entrance with the ridiculous over-the-top dancing and just being overly obnoxious. There wasn't any of that with Bayley, really. I mean, I guess that you could say there kind of was, but not really a noticeable amount. But either way, Bayley cuts a promo saying nobody should be surprised by what happened last night, saying that she helped her best friend Sasha, and nobody should be surprised by that. Bayley says that she's still just trying to be a role model for the kids, and she's teaching them a lesson in loyalty, and that Bayley has stuck by Sasha, the only person that has had her back the entire time. So that was a good little heel stuff, is that Bayley still thinks she's the role model. So that's a nice touch. And she says that she's going to beat the most selfish person on the roster, Charlotte, at the pay-per-view. Charlotte, of course, interrupts, says that she's the queen of selfishness. But what you see is what you get, basically saying that she may be selfish, but she's not fake about it like Bayley is being. So, looks like they're at least positioning Charlotte as the babyface for this feud. I don't know if that will mean that she's a babyface going forward, because that would be awful. Babyface Charlotte is terrible. But I do think it's going to end up leading to a tag match with Bayley and Sasha against Becky and Charlotte at some point. Sasha comes out. Charlotte sees what's coming and punches Bayley. Takes down Sasha, but Bayley comes back in with a steel chair to take out Charlotte. Then Sasha and Bayley take turns giving chair shots to Charlotte, and that's it. Bayley was getting cheered for most of this, but she did get some boos throughout it. Like, when she first came out, it seemed like she was getting booed, but then, it just developed into just cheering. And, that just speaks to... And, I think a lot of people think that the reason for that is just because the fans are jaded now. And, it's just this generation. But I contest that if you did this in a way with someone that the crowd genuinely cared about and were invested in as a babyface, then Bayley turning would have been a shocking moment. It still was a shocking moment, but it would have led to a different reaction than this. And, I have something I can even point to that proves that. And, it was 5 years ago, but still. When the Shield broke up, when Seth Rollins put the chair into the back of Roman Reigns, there was no cheering, there was no one more time. Eventually they started chanting, "You sold out," which, got heat. And, the thing was, when Seth reeled that chair back and was about to hit Roman, you heard the audible gasp from the crowd. And, the best part of it is that if you just watch that back, there's just one person you can hear that screams, "No!" right as Seth digs the chair into Roman Reigns' back. So, it's not impossible to get people to be invested in a heel turn. All you have to do is make them invested in the character and wanting to see them, be good. So, I don't think that's as much of a fan thing as it is a writing thing. Either way, though, this was a good segment. Bayley isn't, known for being a good promo, but I thought she did well here. This is a new coat of paint. She's never been a heel in WWE. I don't know if she has been before WWE, but, this is really the first time that we're being shown this side of her. And so, for what it was, I thought she did well. And I'm interested to see what Sasha and Bayley do going forward. We had Ollie versus Elias in the quarterfinal of the King of the Ring. This turned into every big man, little man match. Right when, and we knew it right away, when Ollie he chops Elias, slaps him in the chest, and then Ollie sells his hand. Ow, that hurts. Elias has a fucking chest of steel. Yeah. That was patronizing to me. But Ollie's offense then becomes doing flips and roll-ups in the early parts of this match instead of actually combating with Elias. Elias catches Ollie on a dive, then throws him around ringside and works him over during the whole commercial. Ollie gets the knee worked over. He and Elias battle on the top rope. Elias flips him off of the top rope. Ollie lands on his feet on the floor. but that hurts his knee. And then Elias jumps off, and Ollie delivers a super kick to an airborne Elias, also hurting the knee further. But instead of going for the count-out win, which Ollie may have been able to get as they were at like a 5 count, Ollie gets Elias in the ring. He misses the 450, gets hit with the drift away for the Elias win. So, I like that we can point to a mistake that Ollie made that led to the loss. Like, he should have, in theory, left Elias out there and tried to win by countout, but he wanted to finish him off. It got the better of him. So, there's at least a reason you can point to that Ollie lost, which I like. But, for one, like, I've seen some people saying this match was really good. I thought it was very basic. Just what we come to expect anytime it's a big heel versus a little baby face. And the fact that Elias won, and now we have Baron Corbin and Elias in their respective semifinals matches, in a tournament where we had Cedric Alexander, Drew McIntyre, Buddy Murphy, Chad Gable. Well, Chad Gable made it, but we'll get to that later. And Ollie and all the other guys that they had that could have really done something going into this. The two of the people that are in the semifinals are Elias and Baron Corbin, who both don't need it at all. Elias doesn't do much, but, like, why does he need to? What are we gaining with Elias? Corbin is a made man, I think. Like, he's been pushed as far as they can possibly push him. And I enjoy what they're doing with Corbin now. I think they have him in a more appropriate role as just a mid-card heel instead of the over-suffocating in every segment heel that he was before. And so that's good, but like with Elias, I think there was much more to gain with having Ollie in the final and letting him continue. But, it's whatever. I don't even know what to think that will happen going forward, but the possibility of Elias versus Baron Corbin is out there, which would be hilarious. Because that would be the absolute dumbest thing you could possibly do. But, that won't happen. They're not that dumb. They'll either make it Elias versus Ricochet, or it'll be Baron Corbin versus Chad Gable. Because I'm sure they're going to do a babyface versus heel match. I mean, they could do Ricochet versus Chad Gable, but I doubt they're going to. Like, it's clear that Elias and Corbin have advanced this far for a reason. So, either Elias and Ricochet, or otherwise it'll be Chad Gable and Baron Corbin. So, pick your poison there. We could have had Cedric Alexander versus Andrade or Ollie, or Ricochet versus Andrade or Ollie, but, here we are. Here we are. Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, the Fire and Desire team. This is a non-title match. Alexa goes for Twisted Bliss here at the finish on Sonya, but Sonya gets the knees up, tags in Mandy. They do a sweet little double team where Mandy does the knee strike and Sonya sweeps the legs out from under Cross. And that leads to, Alexa. And that leads to the Mandy and Sonya win. So, the only negative with this is that Alexa and Nikki literally beat the whole tag division within, 2 weeks of them winning the titles. And now it's like they realized, well, oh, crap. We kind of need a challenger for this Clash of Champions pay-per-view. So we'll just have Sonya and Mandy beat them to set up the rematch for the titles. Whatever happened to number one contenders matches? Why are so many title matches now being decided by either I beat the champion, or in the case of Seth and Braun and Bayley and Ember last month at SummerSlam. It's just the champion saying, okay, I'll face you. What happened to number one contenders matches? What happened to actually, like, competing against other people that want the same opportunity? It's just overdone at this point, and I never like the pin the champion and get a title match. I just think it's stupid. Samoa Joe makes fun of Chad Gable for being short. That's going to continue. You know, like, it's only Chad Gable that's being given this treatment. When Ricochet and Ollie have been in this tournament, like, Chad Gable is not that freaking short. Like, the people that are making fun of him for being short are like a few inches taller than him. Like, they're acting like he's fucking Marco Stunt or something. Randy Orton promo calls out Kofi Kingston. Revival come out, beating up Kofi Kingston when the New Day's music hits. Turns into a 3-on-1 beatdown. Kofi tries to fight back, but gets hit with a Shatter RKO. Or they're calling it the Super RKO, which is pretty lame, but, you know, whatever. What this told me is Kofi has pretty shitty friends. Like, where the hell was Big E? Like, I get that Woods is injured, but where's Big E? Big E heel turn confirmed. After that, we got the Roman Reigns recap video, 5,000. We get Chad Gable versus Andrade. Even Zelina Vega is calling Chad Gable little guy. All like 5 feet of Zelina Vega. Surely, with Elias winning, you knew that it was going to be Gable to advance. They weren't going to do heel versus heel with Andrade and Elias. So the crowd got firmly behind Gable, and it really started with this great near fall off a moonsault, which Gable actually hit. Normally there's nobody home for that moonsault, but he hit it, and then that ends up with a near fall, and then nuclear heat for Vega distracting the ref after Gable gets a pin on Andrade with the Chaos Theory German out of the corner. The distraction allows Andrade to take advantage, goes for the hammerlock DDT, but gets rolled up, sunset flip. Gable pins Andrade. If I'm not mistaken, Gable rolled up Benjamin last week. So Chad Gable is going to be the Bret Hart of this tournament. That not a lot of people remember, but when Bret Hart won King of the Ring, he won every match with some sort of roll-up. So there's your random trivia for the day. But yeah, so Gable wins with the roll-up. I would have liked it better if he won decisively in some way. Like, Benjamin, too, there's no reason he shouldn't be able to beat Benjamin. Like, I don't even know what the hell Chad Gable's finisher is. Because we never see it. Because he's winning with roll-ups. I don't know. But either way, Gable will go on to face Elias, which is where the whole short joke started from, was Elias making fun of Gable. So, I guess they're going to pay that off. And I would have to assume Gable's going to win. And if that's the case, I would think it's going to end up being Gable versus Corbin in the finals. Unless they do Gable versus Ricochet, which I'm all for, if they actually wanted to have, you know, like, the best possible match ends this tournament. But otherwise, Gable versus Corbin, which I'm sure can be good. But, you know, stupid that Gable can't get a decisive win. We had an Aleister Black promo earlier that I think I skipped over, but Aleister Black was in the back and said something about being tired of waiting for the mountains to come to him, and instead he's going to go to the mountains. I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure mountains don't move, so I don't know why he expected a mountain to move to him. It took Aleister Black this long to realize if he wants a match, he could just go to the ring. After all this time, Aleister Black has finally realized that. So, we've made progress. Then we get Aleister Black coming out. It goes to a commercial. They come back, and Shelton Benjamin is already there, and the match is starting. That was a total suspense killer. Normally, like with an open challenge, there's supposed to be the big reveal of who comes out. This was a squash match. They had some cool strike exchanges with the knee strikes and all that, but Black wins with a black mass out of nowhere, which I like that they're getting that over as just something that can just be hit like out of nowhere. It can be this generation's RKO. We get some 24/7 title nonsense as Drake ends up getting rolled up by Bo Dallas. Nakamura has a squash match with Sami Zayn being obnoxious on the mic. He reminded me of the one dude that was with the Primetime Players, Abraham Washington. And, Abraham Washington ended up being fired for a comment he made in Denver about Kobe Bryant. But that's a different story, so hopefully Sami Zayn doesn't do anything stupid. I mean, he won't get fired because they don't fire anyone, but he'll just have to sit at home and get paid. So, yeah. This was a local enhancement jobber, and Zayn was obnoxious on the microphone doing commentary, essentially. And, yeah, the Intercontinental Champion is having jobber matches. That's something else. Drake Maverick wins the title back in the ring after this. He rolls up Bo Dallas. Then R-Truth sneaks in and rolls up Maverick to win his 14th title, apparently. And Corey Graves made a subtle dig at Chris Jericho when Drake Maverick won his title back at the first point. That he said he and his wife will go have to celebrate at a local restaurant chain. Of course, just earlier today, it was reported that Chris Jericho's AEW championship had been stolen. So, that will, that's something else. And everyone's crying that it's a work, but, the police made the statement about it, so that I'm thinking it's not a work, and unless the police are in on it. And for whatever reason, Drake Maverick still hasn't fucked his wife. And that's how we'll end this, because after that we got the Roman Reigns and Eric Rowan stuff. And yeah, that'll be it. I'm heading out of here. We'll have more stuff. I don't know if we're going to be able to do the podcast on Thursday with, we're right in the path of Hurricane Dorian the Explorian, so, we'll see how that goes. I hope everyone in the, path of that stays safe. I know I might have to, get up out of here in the next couple days, so hopefully everyone and everything and their belongings and their homes and everything will be okay. Good thoughts for everyone there. But until next time, I appreciate you guys watching and listening, rather. And we'll be back when we're back.